Memorial Day at the National Cemetery, and the Olympics are being held in the cities. The Senior Olympics are just days away in the Quad Cities. The venues, the competition, the athletes. We'll have more in just a moment. But first, preparing to honor those who gave their lives for our nation. Memorial Day just days away. And while some families are getting ready for a 3-day vacation, other families are preparing to honor the men and women who died to protect our national defense. The Rock Island National Cemetery has special plans for Memorial Day and the days that are leading up to that day. We talked with National Cemetery Administrative Officer Daniel Baltusberger and Vietnam veteran Tom Courtney. So how does the National Cemetery really mark Memorial Day each year?
So Memorial Day is a little bit separate from Veterans Day. Veterans Day, we honor all veterans. Memorial Day is more, we honor veterans who have died to preserve our rights and our freedoms here in this country. We mark it with we kick it off on Thursday before, which will be the 23rd, which will be flag placement. That'll be at 4 p.m. And we want as many people in the community to come out and place a flag in front of a hero's grave. And don't just place a flag, but look at the name, and you can look it up. There's websites like Find a Grave where you can see their story, read their obituary, see what they did. They could have worked at the same place as your father or your uncle or your grandfather, or even been in the same Masonic Lodge or Legion. So, and then Monday, Memorial Day, we actually have a ceremony, and that ceremony we always say 10:45, but we kind of give time for people because they have to park and take the buses over, and then there's a bus route that will take them to different spots in the cemetery so they can visit loved ones.
One of the things that I really like about the flag placing is I do know that you also have like Boy Scout troops, or you have young people involved. That really kind of leaves a mark as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Really, the history of this country and the history of service, I mean, it can be taught, and it should be taught starting young, letting people understand that, you know, we live a really good life in a really great country, but there were a lot of sacrifices that were made. And those Boy Scout troops that come out and 4-H groups that come out, and a lot of them I give tours to, and I will take them around to some of the different sections of the cemetery and show them, like General Rodman's monument, some of the Civil War, some of the folks who died. We have 2 Medal of Honor recipients from World War II, original code talker. We will show them these, and basically the message is that freedom isn't free, and there's a story behind every one of these headstones.
Well, and Tom, you're part of so many of the ceremonies that are on the island and at the National Cemetery. And people do get Veterans Day and Memorial Day a little confused, but Memorial Day is really incredibly important to veterans as well.
It is. It is. You're honoring the ones that have given us the rights that we have today, and they have gone before us. No matter whether it was World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, no matter what it is. To carry on a little bit on what Dan said about the kids, I did that when I was a lot younger. My dad was involved with the American Legion, and we'd go to St. Mary's Cemetery and put out the flags. So I've experienced what he's talking about.
And the National Cemetery is really a special place.
It is.
And for most people, it's a special place on holidays like Veterans Day or
Right.
Memorial Day. But for you, you're part of so many ceremonies. It's a special place like every day.
Today we had 2. And we do a lot of them over there.
2 burials, two memorials.
Yeah, we did 2 funerals, and we'll do Memorial Day, we'll do Veterans Day. Last year, we did 172 funerals at the Arsenal. Yeah. Or we did 172 last year. So we're very involved with the ceremonies for the veterans that pass away.
Well, tell me about it from a perspective of a Vietnam veteran. As we all know, the Vietnam War ended and split apart the nation in so many different ways, and veterans really seem to pay the price. Mm-hmm. And it almost has gone full circle right now.
It has. When some of my compadres came back, they kind of got some bad treatment. Even in the Quad Cities, they got it from. I know one of our members got it from the American Legion in Moline. He kind of was treated badly, so he doesn't ever want to be a member. Because of this area, I don't think a lot of the guys that came home here got treated badly, but they may have run into it in other areas. But it's been nice that we are finally getting the recognition with the honor flight, having a full Vietnam flight and things like that. That's helped.
Well, and you see the Vietnam veterans in parades, I'm proud of their service, proud of their country.
Yeah.
And then I look at you, who is a Vietnam veteran, actively involved in this. It's almost like, for the longest time, it was World War II veterans and Korean veterans that were making sure that these legacies lived on. The torch has really been passed on to Vietnam veterans.
It has, and the Vietnam veterans like myself are getting older and retired and are able to do things like that, where the Legion, they're getting up there in age because of being World War II, Korea and that. And the Vietnam veterans that may belong, that are younger, are still working. And the Iraqi veterans and so on and so forth, they're still working. When I was working, I couldn't have done this.
Right.
So.
Well, let's talk about the volunteers that are out there. I mean, a lot of Vietnam veterans, there's always been, you needed the bugle players. There's a contingent that has to be there for memorials and for burials and funerals. How difficult is it to staff that?
Well, I just like what Tom said, it's getting harder because a lot of our Vietnam vets and Korean War vets, and I mean, we actually still do have Mr. Jim Joseph, who comes out. He's 96 years old with the Moline American Legion. And what we're hoping is that folks will come behind him. When I give my tours and I talk to kids, I talk about everybody serves. You know, you can be doing what you're doing right now. You can be a teacher. You can be in the military. But everybody serves in some form or fashion. And a great example of that is one of our bugle players, Tracy. She never served in the military, but she gives her time up and does, I know that she passed 3,000. She's probably
pushing 4,000.
She's easy.
Hard.
And she does it for families. So even, it doesn't matter if you've served or not, you can still serve and you can help veterans. And she does an absolutely amazing job. She is by far the best bugler I have ever heard do taps for any service at any cemetery.
That's saying something.
It is.
Tell me a little bit about the other veterans, because as you said, there are still World War II veterans that are as active as they can be at this point.
Yeah, so I talked about Jim Joseph, still coming out there. We have Mr. Zavanek. He's 97, still comes out with our Friends group. The Friends group helps with gardening and beautification of the cemetery. We buried his brother last year. He was 101. So they got good genes.
That's good to know.
I also gave him a hard time. I said, I can't believe somebody was older than you. But that's what we do, you know, as vets. We give each other a hard time, but you know, the true camaraderie is, it doesn't matter what era you came from. We all have a reverence for each other, and each of us has a story, and we just take care of one another because. And these guys, like the Vietnam veterans, they're coming out and they're taking their own time. They don't ask for any money to do this. They can take donations, but their donations aren't to pay for their time. That's just for their uniforms, their rounds, their weaponry. So they are doing this. And you know, what I try to tell my kids is your time is your most valuable asset. It's the only thing you really have to give. And the amount of time that they give a year is astronomical.
When you look at the National Cemetery, when you're there, it's just awe-inspiring. The precision of the stones and the work that goes into the upkeep of the lawns. That doesn't happen overnight either. And I know you have teams that have been preparing as soon as, well, even before the last big freeze here. I mean, the winter, the thawing, it pays a price at the cemetery.
Sure it does. We have an amazing field crew, and most of them are all veterans. And so most of our staff is all veterans. The VA hires the highest percentage of veterans because we know and we understand. I mean, if you'd asked me when I was a kid, I never thought I'd been working at a national cemetery. But it's an honor because as a veteran myself who did almost 21 years in the Navy, I get to take care of the generation ahead of me still and take care of my folks in my community. But those field guys out there, they're out, it's raining today. They're out there doing interments. They're out there taking care of veterans and their families. When it's 100 degrees, they're still out there doing stuff. You know, right now, they're out there planting flowers, they're split seeding, they're doing all the things. You know, you go out there and it's a national shrine with great grass and headstones are all straight. And you're right, it doesn't happen overnight. But these folks take care of this generation that's ahead of them that has done everything. And I guess our hope is that the next generation will take care of us.
Well, and Tom, you and the other veterans that are doing this are very strong in more than one way. You got to be emotionally strong as well. And as you well know, there's so many veterans that do, have struggles that are going on. Does Memorial Day actually, I don't know, it brings up some of those things. I mean, are you worried for the mental health of some of those veterans?
Boy, that's a hard question to answer. I think it does affect some of the veterans, probably more than others. The gentleman that I serve with on the Honor Guard, they do this and it helps them. One of the guys never thought he would be doing this when he started. We have one gentleman, when it wasn't Memorial Day, they had the traveling wall here at the university, and he lost it because he had guys that were on the ship that got killed. So yeah, each veteran's gonna have his own issues, whether it's Memorial Day or Veterans Day, it doesn't make any difference. And every day they live, they'll have something, whether it's PTSD, anything like that. So.
Well, and that's why, the Memorial Day services do have such an impact. And this Memorial Day service, what's going to happen? I mean, do you have a keynote speaker? Do you have, usually you do have a special speaker or somebody who addresses the audience?
Sure, we always get veterans. And actually, Tom is a part of our bi-county group that helps us prepare for that. So we'll have keynote speakers. We do leave it open if our local, like mayors, congressmen, want to come there, and we hope that they do come out and talk with their constituents and us veterans and ask us, how they, what we can see that needs still to be helped with veterans. You just mentioned about how, veterans are being, their mental health. That is a huge thing in the VA. And it doesn't start with, our constituents, in DC or our local ones, but they can help, and they can help push legislation, and they can help push things that can help our veterans. Because in my opinion, one is too many, and there's not enough that can be done for that. But for the service that we're gonna have, we'll have some National Guard. We'll be firing off the howitzers in an honor salute. So, I mean, everybody always likes to come and see the big guns get fired. These gentlemen, Tom will be a part of the firing and the flags that are presented. We have local band, local singing group, and most importantly, we honor the Gold Star families. So we send out invites to them. So what a Gold Star family is someone who lost a loved one in the protection of this country in combat. So it's important to remember them and take care of them, because we honor their service through their living relatives, because it's important.
Tom, you get the last word. As you know, Memorial Day weekend is when people go camping or when they go visit wherever they visit. You should spend a little time thinking about the past.
Yeah, I do, because my dad and my mom are both buried at the island. My uncle's over there. So it's kind of a little memory thing for me because of that. My wife's buried at the island, so it's a lot of memories over the last lot of years with mom and dad and family and stuff. So
Yeah.
kind of comes back.
It definitely is. The National Cemetery definitely is a jewel for the Quad Cities.
I've had a funeral director tell me that if it's between another cemetery and the Arsenal, he pushes the Arsenal.
Our thanks to National Cemetery Administrative Officer Daniel Baltusberger and Vietnam veteran Tom Courtney. Still ahead, getting ready for the Olympics to come to the cities. But first, Mo Carter has been described as a multifaceted musician known for her bold, soulful voice and charismatic stage presence. She brought both to the stage of the Black Box Theater in Moline to perform one of her originals. Here's Mo Carter with Crumbled.
Your brilliance in every way, a constant reminder, as it's always on display, thinking if I try harder, I could be simply better, but that's not the case for me, so I crumble, just like you knew I would, and I crumble so beautifully, and I crumble into the sea, and I crumble. So easy, oh, every time, not even trying, create a beautiful rhyme. If I had a sliver of what you possess, would it be easier for me to confess that I crumble? Oh, just like you knew I would, and I crumble. Oh, so silently, and I crumble. Oh, into the sea, and I crumble. I'm twisting at every turn. Your shadow looks and I burn. With nothing left, I guess I'll accept that I'll continue to be nothing better. Only me, nothing better. Only me, oh, nothing better. Only me, oh, and I crumble. Oh, just like you knew I would, and I crumble. Oh, so foolishly, and I crumble. Oh, into the sea, and I crumble.
Mo Carter with Crumbled, performed at the Black Box Theater in Moline. The Quad Cities Senior Olympic Games will begin at venues like Augustana College, KSI Senior Center, Riverside Park, and E-Mice Golf Course. The Olympics has events that you might not expect to see, but offers competitions that many people over the age of 40 might find pretty interesting. Rhonda Ellsbury from the Senior Olympics joined us to tell us more. Senior Olympics in the Quad Cities celebrating 33 years. It is a milestone, but some people may not really know what Senior Olympics is. They think, oh, it's a bunch of old people that are eccentric.
Well, I am glad we're here to dispel that rumor for sure. But yeah, 33 years. It's been a nice long running stand. Maybe we've changed venues sometimes. Board members have come and gone. Participants have come and gone. But for the most part, we've had the same structure and variety all these years. And it's just every year we just anticipate putting it together, bringing these friends back together, and being able to celebrate creativity in fitness and mind.
I always think of the Augustana campus where you have a lot of the track and field that's going on and some amazing, events that happen. But it's not all physical. I mean, you have events at KSI, you have events, at
Ridgecrest Village.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the fact that this isn't just track and field.
Yeah, no, and I loved it that it's called Quad City too, and it's not just one location. So we specifically try to make sure that we're spreading the games out throughout the Quad Cities. So there are a lot of variety of locations for people to go. And I'm glad you mentioned it's not just athletic or physical events. That's part of it, and certainly track and field at Augie and disc golf or all of that stuff. We're glad those are included. But for folks that maybe are more artistic, or whatever. We have folks that can write good short stories or poetry, or maybe performing arts, people that still play the piano or the flute or a guitar, or they sing or dance, things like that. So spelling bee, we don't want to forget that.
Right.
I mean, that allows you some mental sharpness. And what else? There was another one. Oh, euchre. We're now having a euchre tournament.
I saw that as well.
So yeah, it's not just the physical. There is that, and that's cool. We celebrate those achievements, but there's the arts as well, and mental sharpness and things like that. So really, I feel there's something for everyone.
And everyone in a number of different age groups. When you think of seniors, you're thinking, oh, these are a bunch of people in their 60s and 70s, but that's not necessarily the case.
Right. So the charter many years ago began with age 50 and up. So, we kind of ran with that for a while, but we have a little bit of levity through the State of Illinois Senior Olympics. They let us have a little bit of levity. So we've opened it up to now 40 and above. So 40 and above, folks can enter either those athletic or physical or outside events, or some of these others, the arts, the heritage arts, the photography, all of that good stuff. We just want to celebrate a good variety of age groups and talents here in the Quad Cities.
And as you said, I mean, there's number of events. I mean, I'm thinking there's golfers who, and it's going to be at E-Mice, there's golfers who play E-Mice anyhow. Why not be a senior Olympian for this?
And win a medal.
Exactly, and show just how good you are.
Exactly.
And do you not have fishing as well? Why did I think
Fishing's not
fishing
in there,
was
but you might have been thinking of the pistol. So we did have archery. We had pistol and silhouette shooting, things like that. So no fishing, but you know what? Should that be something we put on the docket?
Well, but I'm thinking that, I mean, if you went to your website, I mean, anybody who's interested, I encourage you to go to your website because you list all of the different things.
Yeah.
And there's something there that everybody does.
Something for everyone. There's over 50 events that you could register for. It's just a $40 entry fee, so $40 for unlimited events. So some of the races here locally, you pay higher than that just for that one race. So it's pretty inclusive for you to pay the one fee, and you can sign up for whatever you're available to do.
And tell me about the registration. I mean, do you have a deadline? When can people register for various events?
Yeah, so some of the events do have some deadlines, but really everything but swimming will allow walk-on. So I do want to talk about registration for sure, and there are some deadlines. So the registration can happen on the website. So that's qcsogo.org, qcsogo.org. So you go on there, there's certainly a registration link. That's where you can put check marks by all the things that you want to participate, arrange to pay your $40 registration fee there. That includes a t-shirt. You'll also receive an invitation to the opening ceremonies, which that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll talk about that in a few minutes. The closing ceremonies and the closing picnic on Saturday, June 1st. If you're not maybe as tech savvy, you can download that form circle or check box what you want to do and either drop that off at the event you're going to attend. So that's some ways to register. Get a hold of us via email. So certainly, again, you'll go to our website to find our email on there. And we can help people get registered. So there's walk-on opportunity too. So say you didn't get to register, you missed maybe a deadline. Arts and crafts, you know, it's kind of a hard, fast deadline that first week of May, because we do get those displayed over at KSI, and then we call judges in to do that. So if you miss a deadline for whatever reason this year, think of us next year. Call and get on our email list so that early in the year next year we can let you know about that. But walk-on events, let me talk about that. So swimming would be the only one that maybe you couldn't show up to the day of because they've already done their pairings and things like that. But many of the other events that you see on the registration form or the website, if you miss the deadline, that's okay, we'll take you. Show up with your form, sign the waiver, and we're going to plug you in and let you participate in that event.
I like one of the things that it says here, of course, is that the real mission is to improve health, fitness, and quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, I mean, we have an aging population.
Yep.
An event like this, the Olympics, what do you hope that the participants get out of it?
I love that you're pointing out the part of the fitness and the wellness and things like that. As you know, there's many studies that show that if you're staying active as you age and being able to engage in the community, it helps avoid isolation and things like that. But look, as we age, things are going to happen, whether it's arthritis or stiffness or whatever. So we know, and studies show, if you're active, if you're doing things, right, that can help subvert some of that. If you've got procedures coming up, you just heal quicker because you're active, you're things like that. But it's not just active too. You said, what are participants going to get? It's lifelong friendships. It's camaraderie. We're all standing around in our little circle and just cheering each other on. So there's a lot of fun to it too. You know, there's the fitness part, we love that, but there's just cheering each other on and being a part of something good in the community. We all need positivity in our life. So that's one of the things you can plug into and do, and it's fun.
Rhonda Ellsbury from the Quad City Senior Olympics. Now you can check out details at the Quad City Olympics website. It's QCSOGO.org. On the air, on the radio, on the web, on your mobile device, and streaming on your computer. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the city's